Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the first episode of going through week one contestants. So far, we've had, I think, 5 submissions or more, so that's actually really awesome. So, we're going to go through the first 5, and let me just give you a quick heads up. This week, we are grading 30 points for creativity. These are the totals. So, there's a couple imbalances because of the fact that we're doing cosmetics. So, I'm giving 30 points total in that category for creativity. If it's something I haven't seen, if it's something new, if it's something cool. 15 points for functionality, so whether it works without bugs, depending on bugs, and if it's multiplayer friendly. 15 points for design, which is mainly the like how it looks, um, as in like if you have just an item just an item, or if you have like a custom texture, but you don't necessarily need a custom texture to make it look good. Um, and then there's difficulty, which I'm only doing 10 points because we're doing cosmetics. And the big thing about cosmetics, they don't need to be complicated in the commands, they just need to look cool. And then the last one is 30 points for entertainment. So the main ones here is entertainment and creativity. Is it something cool? Is it something new? And is it something fun? So let's go look at our contestants. So first off, we have Void Smith. And the 5 that we have here is the new players in the arena. This is what it looks like when you make one. I'll put you in the arena like this. We got Void Smith, Cheese Guys, The Sams, Caleb Craft 17, and Craftium. They do have different names to want to go by, which we'll say when we're in the testing world. But let's head over to the testing world to check out Void Smith first. Okay, so as you can see, I went over a couple of them to make sure that they worked, but there is still 2 that I have not gone through. So Voidsmith, he submitted a 1 command creation. It's got about, I'd say 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say it's about 30 commands. Some of them might be fake, but it's supposed to be headshot zombies. So for him, he kind of took the cosmetic thing a little bit in a different direction than I would expect. So what I meant by cosmetic was like something, I don't know. You'll see what I mean by cosmetic. Somebody did something really cool, um, but I do like it because he did kind of twist the meaning of cosmetic. He made it a cosmetic death effect, as you can see, which I still think is really cool. Like this, I didn't see anybody do this before to do headshot zombies. As you can see, it does work. I can kill them like that. Um, but if I hit them in the head, it will instantly kill them. And now I need to check that. Oh, yep, okay. So if you haven't been able to spot it already, what he does is he spawns an invisible squid on their head, and if you kill the squid, it does the cool death effect, like so, which I thought is really cool. It's nice how it turns into like a a zombie pigman. I think it looks nice. I'm not going to go over what I exactly am going to give you your points. I'll let you guys look at the scores for this week at the end of the week. But I thought that this was really cool and kind of funny how he took the what I meant by cosmetic and kind of twisted it another way and decided to make cosmetic death effects, which is a cosmetic. It's not necessarily what I like a server cosmetic ability, um, like like a one-time use, but it's definitely a cosmetic kind of death effect, which does kind of use the definition of the word instead of the intention, which is fine. I do like it. I really do. I would say that this one has a lot of creativity. I've never seen this before with the headshots and the usage of the squid, which is really smart too. Functionality, it works in multiplayer. It works. It doesn't have any bugs that I could see. Works 100%. So I'll give that. It definitely is fully functional. No bugs that I can see, and works really well. Then as for design, I would say that it is not perfect design because I don't know. The using the pigmen makes it kind of look a little strange, and I'd also say that it's kind of annoying that you have to spawn them in using spawn eggs. But at the same time, it still looks pretty cool. And then I'd say difficulty. I'd give this at least 8 for difficulty. I'm not going to go over the exact points because I'm not writing them down or keeping track, but I will put it to the side. This is just showcasing things. But I'd say it's fairly difficult, but not super difficult. I'd say the difficult part is the animation and the sound effects. Probably took a little bit of time to put those in and to make it time correctly. And then for entertainment, I'd say it's really fun to come around and shoot these guys. I'd say it's definitely a next level kind of thing. It's more of a game changer. If you could make this into a cool game changer. But let's go ahead and fight a couple of these at night. I'd say this is pretty fun to go around and hit them and then they just die. But at the same time, it's pretty easy. So I'd give it a pretty good rating on entertainment. But it's not like something. I wouldn't say it's something per se fun, but I do find it kind of interesting to like shoot them, and it's kind of entertaining to just shoot them and kill them like that. It is pretty cool to go for the headshot, just like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so we're gonna go over to the next one. So the next one over here is by Cheese Guy 05, otherwise known as Cheese Guy Cheese Maps. I don't know what he meant by that. Um, but his was a little weird because it took me a while to figure out what it was. But I built this little course so you guys can see it. So if I go over to the obsidian, I can basically stand on. It's supposed to be like a wall jump ability on the obsidian, and if I look down, it'll teleport me down. So I just kind of failed that parkour. um, but it is kind of interesting. It does work well. Now, my only problem with it is that it doesn't have very good. It doesn't really follow what my directions were per se too well because it's not really a cosmetic, but I guess you could argue it's a movement cosmetic, like how in Hypixel they have jetpacks. Um, but it's gonna lose a couple points for that just because it's a good thing, but it's not really a cosmetic, and it's not even like the other one where it took the meaning of cosmetic and kind of twisted it a little bit. It's more of a mechanic than a cosmetic. And then if you see here, I was messing around with it earlier, and look at that. So yeah, it also has a little bit of problems with leaving blocks behind. I would suggest if you wanted to use this as a mechanic, I would suggest using probably an armor stand where the block spawns so you guarantee that it will disappear eventually, or something of that matter. But it's pretty cool. It works well, and it's a nice map mechanic and maybe a movement cosmetic. But I would suggest maybe making it work with all blocks as well, because obsidian is not necessarily what people are going to want to use, because it's really specific. So for the third one, we have one by The Sams, and he created it. It's called Chicken Bombardment, and also he just wants to be known as The Sams. So you click this button and you get the the carrot on a stick. This will start the scoreboards. I switched these all to switches. If you could in yours, if you could make it if it's not a one command, just make sure everything's powered by switches because I don't want things activated all the time. Let me deactivate these really quickly so we have less commands running. Okay, so chicken bombardment. Let's try it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I thought when I first spawned this one in, I didn't have mob griefing off, so basically I just blew up a bunch of my world. But I thought this was this is the kind of thing that's more like it wouldn't be on Hypixel, but it's still pretty funny. So basically it you right click and it'll shoot a chicken that drops poop, and when the poop hits the ground, it turns into these blocks, and it spawns like these area effect clouds, which to be honest, I was originally going to go through all these all these command things before I recorded them, but after playing with this one, it actually made me laugh quite a bit when I first used it, because I didn't expect that to be a chicken bombardment. So that's why I decided I'm just going to go over them on camera, because that way you guys can get my initial reaction. But I wanted to see what the commands were like beforehand right away last night, but I didn't have the ability to record because it was a bit noisy. Anyway, so this one's really nice. This is what I would say is the closest to a cosmetic of these three. It seems like the kind of thing that you would see on Hypixel, like a gadget. I've seen them have different kinds of cannons. It's kind of like a cannon, launches a chicken, and it drops poop. The only issue is it drops blocks, which would not be really good for a cosmetic because it would destroy the environment. But I'm not going to dock you any points for that because I didn't say that the cosmetic had to be server friendly. Anyway, so difficulty, I would say this one is fairly difficult, but at the same time, a lot of it is repetitive, so I'm not going to give it quite as many difficulty points as Voidsmith's, just because this one, the difficulty is just the amount of commands, but at the same time, it's still kind of repetitive. So here we have just all these little ones are the particle effects, and the timers as well, so this is pretty good. But this is really cool because what he does is for the direction with this, he uses the thing that I used for my my old server technique, which is facing. So if a player is facing a certain direction, it'll give him a certain score, and then if they have a certain score, it'll summon the chicken and give it motion. In the specific direction that makes it look like you're shooting it that direction. But in my opinion, that's kind of a fake direction because if I'm like that, notice how it didn't actually go where I was facing, it only went approximately where I was facing. So my only suggestion to make this better, or maybe for the next time when you're doing like a facing thing, try using some ray casting. I know it's kind of difficult, but I have a lot of tutorials on it, and it ends up being perfectly where you're facing. This only has 8 directions. Ray casting is perfectly where you're facing, and it takes these, I think, 9 commands and makes them into, I think, only like 3 or 4 commands. But other than that, it's really cool. I like the I like the effects and the quote unquote creativity, even though it's kind of funny. And I guess you could say it's a little gross, but it's just blocks, so nothing too big there. So now let me get the other ones prepped up, and then I'll show them to you. Okay, so this one's by Craftium, and I'll click this again so you guys can see it. So nice little particles, and I'm getting some constant particle effects. So let's go ahead and explore what this is. So, hi, thanks for using my cosmetic particle set. Hold the item for it to work. This is my first cosmetic command block creation, so don't expect much. Have fun. So, okay, so we got a couple different things here. I guess they're all like different particles. Oh, okay, that's cool. So when you hold the item, it gives you a particle, which is pretty cool. So I like these particles just right off the bat. I'd say this one has a lot of I'd give this one a lot for design, especially because I do like the particles. Look at that. It's got the particles coming outwards and inwards from the center. That's pretty cool. So we got portal. This item will bring them to you. Okay, so it just describes them. Then this one is the cracked trail. Now this is just maybe a slight bug with functionality. The trail is like purple. I don't know. I guess you could say, you could claim that's intentional. But if you want to make the block crack have a specific block, let me just, let's see. Let's see if I can find it. If I can find it, then, okay, here it is. Okay, so slash particle. It was this. Okay. Count. Okay. Speed count mode player. Speed count mode player params. Okay. If you add force at P, or you can do normal at P, and then the number that you put after the at P is going to be what block it displays the block crack. So I'd say this looks better. But I won't dock you too many points for that because technically it could be what your intention is. Anyway, so words, let's see words. Okay, that's cool. So it's just the basic particles. Okay, so this is just like the particle effect. And then let's see, let it snow. You get like a little snow. I wonder if you can shoot that. Okay, no. And then we got angry. Oh, okay. So that's like the angry villager. And we have walking on water. Oh, okay, so they put bubbles at your feet. That's cool. Let's use it in F5 mode so we can see all of them. Okay, so we have the make it snow, walking on water, the footsteps, these footsteps behind you, which looks a little bit buggy, but interesting, I do have to say. I feel like that could be a cool map mechanic with walking. You use footsteps at mobs that are invisible, and that's the only way you can see them. And then there's love, which is a bunch of hearts. And then I like this one, the rain, because it looks like a little cloud above my head. Okay, so I'd say this one is pretty cool. It's really basic. It's not too difficult, but it does have a lot of different particles to it, I'd say. Not very difficult, but at the same time, it looks pretty cool, and it does come off as a cool effect. My only suggestion would be maybe make it so that it's a little bit complicated with scoreboard tags, but maybe make it so when they can drop the item, and then it'll constantly play the particles at them, no matter whether they have it in their selected slot or not. But other than that, it's pretty nice. I'd have to say it works well, and some of the particles are pretty cool. Oh, maybe if you put the footsteps on, it'll do constant footsteps. But anyway, so that one was by Craftium. We're going to head back to the arena room to just give a quick debriefing of what's up. But the other guy, what was it? I think it was Cheese Guy. Wait, no, it was, hold on. It was Caleb Craft 17. He sent me a link, but it was a Dropbox preview link. So get the actual link for the Dropbox, and I'll add you in the next video. But just make sure that you put the link, not the preview link, because basically you linked me to Dropbox homepage. So anyways, let's go back to the arena. Okay, so all in all, you guys did pretty well. I'd have to say that they were all really good submissions. It was a good amount of variety. We had one that was kind of like a spin-off of what cosmetic even means, one where they did a cosmetic death effect, which does count as a cosmetic. We had one that was kind of like a mechanic slash movement cosmetic. I would suggest working on that to make it more cosmetic and less mechanic. And then we had one that was a kind of like a rocket rocket launcher kind of thing. Um, and then we had one that did not work, and then we have one that is the just particles. Now, one thing that I'm going to go over, which you might have noticed I didn't necessarily go over, it's the theme word contrast. I didn't see it too explicitly in any of them. I'd say the Sam's, yours. Okay, so let's just go in order about where I saw the theme word uh, contrast. But I'm only gonna do like -5 points this week if you don't include the theme word, only because or maybe okay, I'll do -10 points if you don't include the theme word, uh, depending on how much you include the theme word, the because I guess this is really new, so you guys don't really know. Nobody's ever done this before, or at least you might not have ever seen this before, so it might be new to you guys. Anyway, so Voidsmith, I would say his technically did kind of have contrast. I feel like his was the most controversial command creation because it was a death cosmetic for zombies, not the player, and he kind of included contrast. I guess I could see contrast between the zombie pigmen and the zombie, but there's not really much contrast there. So I didn't really see it too much from him, so maybe only like -5. Cheese, you did not have contrast at all, except for I guess the contrast between obsidian and a regular block. Sam's, I didn't really see contrast there either. Not really. I don't know. It was pretty. It was a cool. It was really cool. It's gonna get a lot of points for that, but it's gonna lose a couple points for contrast. And then Craftium. Huh. His is it's he had a lot of particles, so it's hard for me to say whether that did have contrast or didn't, because arguably it didn't because I didn't see contrast in a single particle. But to be fair, the different particles, some of them contrasted each other. So I'm not sure about that one. I'd give that one about the same kind of rating as Void in terms of using the theme word. But all in all, really good submissions for commands, but you guys kind of missed out on the theme word contrast. So if anyone who has not submitted yet and is going to submit, make sure you include the word contrast in some way, even if even if you literally just make the command say contrast or something. Technically, I can give you some points for that. Um, but anyway, so just try and include the word contrast. Other than that, that was pretty great. I'm going to be releasing another video of these soon with a bunch of others. I just wanted to do the first 5, but I guess it only turned out being 4. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.